Welcome. It's a good day to be on the farm. My name is Chuck, and this is a map tour of the Brosum map, which is available on PS5. I'm sure it's available on computer and probably on the Xbox as well, but I only play on the PS5, so that's the only one I can tell you about. Anyway, I'm starting this new series of just doing map tours and kind of showing you where I set up my farms and what those look like. Not necessarily ones that I want to do an actual series on, but you know, um, ones where I want to tell you about a map that I'm having fun playing. And so this one is Brosum. It has, according to the map, actually, let me just pull off here. No, we just got started, but let me show you the map in the beginning here. It's got a lot of rectangle fields kind of all over the place. And all the industries are kind of here in the central area, but there are definitely some things around the outside, including this over here, which we'll end the tour on in a minute. And if you're believing the numbering system on the map, which I don't know that I do because it changes when you go to buy something, I think there's 89 fields is the highest number I found before you go enter the buy screen. But if you come to here, it's got like 106 and 107, which of course um, is a lot of fields, but basically lots of fields that are available. I'm not going to take you on a tour of the whole thing up there, but I am going to drive down to the farm that I've chosen and kind of just show you what I have set up and what I've done so far. We're going to drive by a bunch of these greenhouses that are over here on the right. And then there's also a couple of industry production buildings that you could buy here in the central area off to your right. Oops. If you look off to the left, over there is the biogas, I believe. And that is where you can. I've been selling bales over there too. So I did some silage on here originally, and I sold the bales over in that section there. Um, so there's a lot of nice fields in that direction as well. And there's even some forestry available on this map. Over here on my left now, there's some forestry that you can do. I don't really do forestry very often, so I haven't messed around with that. I did cut down a few trees on my lot, which I will show you in a second. And then it's got this little stream area that a canal, if you want to call it that. And so I like this area down here that's got this little twisty road. There are lots of grass fields if you like to mow and do silage on here. You're looking at some of them on the right here. I've considered coming over here and just buying these just to give them a cut and then bale them and then get out of here, but I haven't gotten around to doing it yet. And then there's like a little residential village area up here. I'm not going to go through it right now, but there's like a little town with all sorts of buildings and stuff in there. I don't go in there very often for farming, but I did drive through there once when I was trying to bring some equipment down. And then lastly, there's a bridge over the canal, which brings us into this southern area, which is where I set up. Oops. Car. And yeah, this corner is a little bit dangerous. So actually, let me go this way. So if you cut behind this field here, there is this big grass field number 34 off here to the right. And originally when I started, there's also some more productions down there. But this big grass field is what I started on. First thing I bought was a baler, came down here and baled and made silage bales. And I think I got 99 bales off this one field right here, 34. So that's how I started. And my yard is over here on up in front of us off to the left. So we're going to kind of enter in here and I'm going to give you a quick tour. I'm going to turn this flasher off now that we're not on the main roads anymore. So this I thought was a really nice area. It's got this little cut in here, and then it's got a little bit of a dirt road that cuts back through to some more fields over here. So I thought this was kind of a nice little area that you could start on. I don't actually own that field that's in front of us yet, but I'm hoping to expand at that point at some time. And then there were some buildings actually originally set up here. So this is in a yard you'd normally start on. There were some big buildings set up down here that you could actually select and delete, which is what I did. I dropped this pallet delivery system for big bags and for fertilizer So basically I get my seeds, my fertilizer, and my lime from this station here. And I'm just considering this a delivery service, so I don't have to drive all the way back to the shop every time I need to refill those. So I needed housing. I dropped in the cheapest housing that was available, which was this $20,000 mobile home. I don't really like it, and eventually I'm going to hopefully sell that and put an actual farmhouse there for aesthetic purposes. And then this is one of the barns that I have. This was a required mod to install Brosum. These must be on the map somewhere else, but so I decided since they were required for this map, I was going to use them. So I dropped one here and another one down here, and that's where I store all of my vehicles. And then you can see there's like field stones or something on the ground. I at one point in time painted over some of this with gravel, but apparently didn't save it. So you can get rid of these field stones by painting with gravel, but I just haven't done it yet. I did drop this silo on the land here, so I had somewhere to drop my crops as I was going, and then obviously I dropped a second barn here. So down there I have my harvester, my cultivator, my seeder is usually sitting there, but it's out in the field right now. Then down here I keep my grass working stuff, my baler, my mower, my windrower, and then I guess my fertilizer spreaders in there as well. So originally I had bought this field 34 and done some grass bales and bought 29 here. And so this was the first field that I planted. I planted all of this barley that's getting ready to harvest here in a month or two. And so I'm excited about that. And then I had bought this field here, which I just planted with sorghum recently, 38. And then slowly I had kind of converted over to selling field 38 and buying some more of these square fields over here because I really like this setup of these square fields. So let me just drive down them and kind of show you what I've got going on. I got a couple of workers going right now while I'm doing the farm tour. But so I'm going to have sorghum in both of these fields. There's one worker planting that. I accidentally left a worker going last time and he planted an extra strip across this middle row that I'm driving on. So just be aware. Wait, who are you? And you are weeding that for me. Let me just take a look. I had some weeds on my... Yep, and he is getting rid of this last strip of weeds. So this section that he's weeding was accidentally planted. I didn't intend for that to be planted. So that's kind of how that happened there. I want to catch that worker when he's done so I can move him over to the other field. So let me actually just get this out of the way. So I really like this section of 4 fields here. So I've slowly transitioned over to buying all 4 of these fields and selling those other fields. I do plan to sell field 29, which is the one planted with barley ahead of me. Once that's done, and then sort of transition the map over, I'm just going to grab this worker when he's done and move him to the other field while I'm talking about it. All right, so, and then this is one of my 2 tractors. I had bought that Kloss originally that you can see this planting here, the sorghum on field 37. And then this one came up in the sale. This, I think it's a Valtra. And so I've been using this as sort of my second tractor just for some of the lighter work. So let's get here. And this all needs weeded. Yeah, so basically 37, 38, 39, and 40 is my main area here. I'm still hanging on to 29 because I planted it and I want to get the money out of that for doing that work. But then I'm going to sell 29. And I guess I'll just show you this now. So here's my sort of, this is the yard that I bought. And then I plan to sell this field 29 for $194,000 and then hopefully buy these 2 little fields here, 1 and 60 with that. But I also have a little bit of a loan to pay off, so we'll see how that works. But eventually I'd like to have these 2 and not have this one for a while, but maybe eventually get that and get 38 back. So this is kind of the section of the map I chose to work in. And I just really love the setup of these 4 fields kind of set up in this kind of grid. Let me get out of the way so he can go. So I have planted here is my oats, which are growing, which are already 100% fertilized, 98% yield bonus. Here we've got some soybeans growing. I need to fertilize them one more time. We're weeding them right now. And then it's going to be sorghum. And since I accidentally planted one row of sorghum the other day, we're going to plant sorghum on the rest of this, which is what my worker is doing down there. Let's just check in on him and see how he's doing. Has he gotten this figured out? Yeah, he doesn't know what to do. So let's just get him packed up as well. And we'll get the roller out here in a second and roll this. And so we'll have one strip of sorghum that will be done a little bit early, but we can harvest it in the same. And then there's where I turned a little wide and destroyed some of my barley from there. So let me just get this guy thrown into the yard so he's out of the way. And then we will finish the tour. Again, I want to keep these videos pretty short, but I just want to kind of show you where I'm setting up. So I've got these 4 fields here. Actually, let me turn around because there's 2 things I want to show you over here. So again, I had to sell the buildings where my yard is to get that empty so that I could build a yard there, but I'm happy with kind of how that is set up. Maybe I'd like a bigger barn that you can close the doors on at some point in time. And obviously I want to upgrade that farmhouse eventually, but it works for now. And then this field 74 and 73, I'd like to get eventually just to have a couple of more fields around here. And then lastly, this area over here was all forested. And I went and cut down 4 different trees and then had to paint some of the texture on the ground. And I added this, which is going to be my pig pasture. And so we're obviously growing a variety of crops that we can start doing pigs once we have a harvest. For that, or a second harvest. I do have a few oats from my original harvest still in the silo. And then I decided I might as well do horses as well. So 2 animals I've never really messed around with, so I'm just kind of playing around with them here. So I cut down 4 different trees, had to get a stump grinder out here so that I could place these pastures, or these pig pens, or whatever you want to call them. So last thing I wanted to show you is kind of the coast version of this. So if you drive up here, here's the 2 fields I'm talking about getting, and this is already planted with sugar beets. If I can get it by harvest time, then I can obviously feed those sugar beets to my, yeah, let's just cut up here. I can feed those sugar beets to my pigs too, but I don't even have pigs yet, so I don't need it yet. And again, I need to get my barley off of that field 29. All right, so here's the road that essentially I turned off of to come down to my farmyard there. The traffic does go pretty fast on this map, so just be aware of that. But as you can see, there's like a berm or a dike or something off in the distance that separates the coast. And this is just the last thing I want to show you here real quick on the tour. It's the only part of this map I don't really like, is that if you look off to the west, it's just a straight line where this raised amount of land is, but it does, I mean, kind of fit with what they've got going on here. So if you jump over here, there's actually this cut in between, and there's like a beach kind of area over here. So there's all these fields that go on each side of this, and then there's like 5 non-rectangular fields over here. So I'll show you on the map in just a second. There's also a restaurant where I've sold my corn off of my original harvest to here and somewhere else. But so there's like this pier and this dock area down here and water. And then there's these, I mean, I'm literally driving on one of them right now. They're not numbered, but it's just a giant grass field. And then there's some more fields up there. So let me get around this section. And there's also some steps up there to that. So there's a little path over here. And there's 2 sale points, whatever that one is, and then this restaurant over here where I ended up selling a bunch of my corn. And then there's just more fields. So here's another big grass field, and then you can see there's a bunch of windmills up there on the north side of the map where we haven't really gone. So you don't need me to drive all the way up there. But so, yeah, there's just these 5 fields, and so these aren't numbered. So here's that dike that kind of breaks off this western portion of the map. And then if you come in here, you can actually buy all these fields if you wanted all this grassland next to the beach. Or there's all these, straight long fields on this side of it, which for the most part are planted in grass as well and also aren't numbered. So again, that's why I'm not quite sure how many fields are available on this map, but there's a lot. Like I'm playing 5 fields right now, and that's probably all I'm going to do for a while if I start livestock, which is my plan. I would never be able to essentially own the whole map. It would just take a lot of farming to do all of those fields and all the different areas. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this map tour. I'm just trying to show you guys some of the other maps I'm playing that I'm not planning on necessarily doing series on, but that kind of where I'm setting up. And I don't intend to use this series for like, here's a farmyard on a brand new map and here's what they do with the setup, but more like if I'm going to build a weird looking yard somewhere, or kind of where I decided to play on a map, because I thought that might be interesting. So give it a like if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, drop me a comment and let me know what you'd like to see on these map tours as well, because I do appreciate the feedback. And if you do want to know where the yards that they set up when you do easy mode are, I can certainly incorporate that into these map tours as well. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.